No other market research podcast earned recognition in 2019 and again in 2020 as being named one of the best in the marketing research field, but we were one podcast that did earn that distinction. This is Research Business Daily Report. We are the industry's only daily research video blog on top of that. Please enjoy this edition today, and if you do, please lend your support for our Research News video series. You can see on the screen right now where to go online if you'd like to make a contribution. That'll help us out. I'm Bob Letter, and now in my 26th year as a respected voice in market research. 2 weeks back, media research guru Bill Harvey climbed on his figurative soapbox and blogged about what has unfortunately become commonplace in 2021 advertising, or so he said. And he also reminded everyone in the media and media research business about what over many years has proven to infuse successful advertising. It's not necessarily all being used today, and so we asked Bill to recap his blog.
The world's been changing pretty fast, and in the advertising business even more so. It's funny too, because the first 100 or so years in the business, there was almost no change after I got into the business. But then starting around 2005, and I know I contributed to it, but there's so much going on from day to day, so much change from one day to the next. I think it's dazed us as an industry. We were starting to forget things like the holistic nature of advertising. And I wrote about it recently, and Bob asked me to talk about it briefly here. It's kind of a recap of the reductionism and an attempt to overcome the reductionism. So with all the new people in the advertising business and the importance of digital, and focus on digital, and the focus on data, and the focus to some extent has been towards quantitative to the almost on purpose exclusion of the human qualitative side. And I'm not talking about focus groups. I'm talking about how do we do our homework before we create an ad? You know, if you listen to the collective wisdom that comes through right now, it's pretty simple. You have to gain attention, keep attention. You have to then relate it to the brand, and you have to cause emotion. And if you do those 4 things, your advertising will work. Well, not to say those 4 things aren't important, but it's not a complete picture, and therefore not completely helpful. It certainly brings out the importance of attention. Erwin Efron and I in 2003 came out with the new ARF model. We added attention to the model. Obviously, attention was important to us and still is, but it isn't the whole thing. The Bert and Harry Peel commercials a long, long time ago got tremendous attention, and people liked those ads, but they had no sales effect. There was no persuasion. So when we used to do advertising holistically, and hopefully starting again right now, from now on, the way we'll go back to doing holistic advertising is the first thing you have to do is catch attention as close to the beginning of the ad as possible. Don't let too much time go by or you miss the opportunity entirely. And don't forget the audio track. You know, the audio track, as Jack Wachschlag taught us when he was at Turner, can bring eyes back to the screen. So if you say something in the audio at the beginning that relates to the person's motivations, you will get attention. Then you have to keep attention. And you keep attention by turning it into interest. Interest depends on the story you're telling. The story you're telling has to relate to your memory of the brand. It has to be relevant to the brand that you know. It has to also add a new attribute or feature of the brand, a new motivation related to your motivations, and that will make you want more than you now want to buy that brand. And so that motivation has to be brought out in the story while maintaining attention. And at that point, of course, if you've engaged motivation, you engage emotion. Emotions come from when motivations are either helped or frustrated. If you help a motivation, you get a positive emotion. If you thwart a motivation, you get a negative emotion. Emotion and motivation, they're two sides of the same coin. Motivation is what underlies emotion. You won't get emotion unless you know what you're doing motivationally. So the two key words, and certainly don't forget to brand, and brand early and often. You don't have to just put in the brand at the end. And that's become a cliche in advertising, like a trophy. Attention is important and motivation is important. You have to deal with both. And in creating advertising, you have to study the motivations of the people that you're targeting. Or you have to target the people who have the motivations that you feel you can fulfill. Now, nowadays, there's a trend in advertising to altruistic advertising. This is a very good thing. RMT, my company, just did a study with the ARF Cognition Council of altruistic commercials. The thing about altruistic commercials is they also are packed with all of the other motivations. All of the other motivations show up once the center point motivation is altruism. So altruism can be a company talking about how it helped you keep your vote, or how it's helping a cause, or how it's helping a minority. All of these things, how it's helping its own employees, how it's helping its community, how it's helping you, making life better, the purpose of the brand beyond making money. Altruism is going to be more potent and present in all of our advertising, and that's a good thing.
That wraps up today's Research Business Daily Report. If you're not familiar with us, well, we want you to know the editorial goal of every video you see from us is to present to you news, insights, and commentary not found anywhere else. And if you do appreciate what we are providing you, we hope that you'll consider becoming an RBDR Patreon supporter, which you can do by visiting RBDR's exclusive crowdfunding platform. It's located at patreon.com/RBDR. We hope that you have a good research day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. And until then, please stay safe.